Hey guys, this is Brian Shaw. I'm coming to you live here from Shawstrength, and we are 7 weeks out now from the Arnold Classic. So definitely time is going by quickly. This was a very interesting week. In this video, I'm going to talk a little bit more about my diet changes this week. I'm going to talk about deadlift this week because I got a new deadlift bar, which is pretty cool. I'm going to talk about going heavier with the events. I had Furious Pete in town to do some filming, which was pretty cool. So I'm going to talk about that a little bit. And then I'm also going to talk about the stone. It might be coming back to the Arnold, and have some maybe interesting news about that as well. So if you can remember last week, I was saying that we're going to change the diet up because I was having a hard time getting through all my meals. And we did that this week, and it's crazy the changes we made. Basically switched up some of the carb sources. We switched up the protein sources, and it was crazy. My metabolism seemed to kick up, and I was just getting through all my meals like crazy easy, even getting hungry. And I talked to Nathan, my diet guy, about the changes, and he said that we're just kind of priming my system, getting my digestion working a little bit better. So I was really excited about that. It's kind of crazy how things, you shift a couple foods around, and all of a sudden everything's just working better. So I was really happy with that. It kind of sucks getting hungry and feeling like I'm not getting enough food, but I know that we'll be making another change here soon and bumping the calories back up, and then I'm probably going to be talking about how I can't quite get through all the food again. So that was good. I feel like that was a positive change this week, and that went really well. Another exciting bit of news was I got a new deadlift bar. I had bent my deadlift bar before, so I was kind of playing with some different setups for the deadlift and needed to get a new deadlift bar in, and that came in. And it was cool. It actually worked really well. I ended up doing a lot of singles with it just because I wasn't sure how the bar was going to feel, and I wanted to flex as much as possible. We played with the setup a little bit with the weight plates where they were placed on the bar, tried to put some 100-pound plates to the outside of the bar to make it bend a little bit more, just to try to do everything I can to duplicate this bar at the Arnold. And I feel like it went pretty well. We ended up kind of running out of room loading the bar, so we ended up just using 45-pound plates after that, and worked up. I did a lot of singles on the way up and ended at 855, which is not a huge weight for me. It was really, really easy, but I had done so many singles up to that point, it felt comfortable to stop there. So it was cool. Furious Pete was in town this week also, and he came in and deadlifted with me. He pulled kind of a personal best, I guess, for him, a 635, which was pretty cool to see after he's, beaten cancer twice. And he's got a really cool story. I won't go into much of that right now, but it was fun having him in town. And just seeing him go through the lifting with me was kind of neat. He tried out some new events and, different things this week. It was different. It was different at having him around. I don't know that he was, completely ready for what was going to happen in the gym here, and things got pretty intense at times. But it's a serious time for me coming in, and I kind of let him know that with the filming, and so I feel like everything worked out well. We got a lot of cool videos, and we'll be releasing a lot of that stuff out on his channel and then also on my YouTube here. So definitely look forward to that, and it's going to take some time to get those out. So it's kind of a tease, I guess, about what's going to be coming in the future with that. But that was a lot of fun, and I was really happy with the way that the deadlift went actually with that new bar. So that was a win this week. I was really happy about that. The next part of this week is it's kind of that time in my training cycle where I'm going a little bit heavier with the event training, and everything tends to get heavier as we get closer to the Arnold. So, as I've talked about previously, you need to watch very carefully how heavy, how hard you're going on each event, because, if I wear myself out with deadlift, I may not be as good for frame carry or yoke or something like that, or even my pressing. So, I kind of felt that this week a little bit more, just because I bumped up the weights pretty much on everything. I went a little bit heavier, for example, on yoke, training, and that felt really good, but I can definitely feel it the day afterwards more. So it's that time that it's going to be a little bit of a grind for the next 5 or 6 weeks leading up to the Arnold, when I'm going to hit the majority of my really heavy training. So I'm definitely going to need to get a lot of recovery in. I'm going to be doing a lot of contrast baths. I'm going to be doing a lot of stretching, a lot of soft tissue work. So, we'll probably be able to show some of that stuff as well. I actually took Pete down for his first contrast bath, and it was really funny because he got in the cold tub and he did not enjoy that whatsoever. Whereas to me, I've been doing it for so long now, it actually feels really good and relaxing in a way. So that was pretty funny as well this week. So, I'm going to have to play with the heavy event training, and we'll just see how it plays out. But, overall with the bump up in weights this week, and the diet going better, I felt good about it. I'm not, I'm never going to be happy completely, with the way that everything's going until we get to the contest and I perform well at the contest, because that's the end result that we're looking for. So, overall, everything I think was going really well with training, and I feel like it's definitely working together, but we need to keep that going. So that's going to be the challenge in the next couple of weeks for sure. The next big piece of news is I got an email from Terry Todd, who's a promoter of the Arnold, and he has offered to me to possibly set a new stone world record on Sunday after the contest. So as bad as I obviously talked about wanting to have the stone as an event in the Arnold as part of the actual competition, because I think it should be there, I am really tempted at just setting a new stone world record, just because, it's something that I've set that record several times now, and it's very fun for me to do. So, it's something that's very tempting. We haven't set an exact weight. Right now I hold the world record at 550 pounds. So we'll see. It'll be something above 550. I'm not sure how much above that will go, maybe 555 or something. But anyway, that's kind of exciting. I haven't officially committed to that yet, but I'm definitely considering it. So I know a lot of people out there were asking me questions about that, and I wanted to, let you know that there's a good chance that could be happening, and hopefully this week we can make a little bit more of a final decision on if that's going to happen and what the weight's going to be. So, hopefully be able to give a little bit more of an update on that next week. All right, so I wanted to get into answering a couple of your questions, because you guys have been great about posting different stuff onto the video, and it helps me a lot to know what you want to see. And I got some really good questions, so I'll try to go through a couple of them here. The first one was a question about the Arnold and World's Strongest Man being so close together and how that affects my conditioning, obviously, because the Arnold is such a heavy static competition, and World's Strongest Man obviously has more endurance-based events. Obviously, the weights are still very heavy at World's Strongest Man as well, but you need to have more, a little bit different conditioning going into World's Strongest Man than you do the Arnold. So this is a great question, and to be fair, it's a work in progress. Last year, 2014 was the first year that the Arnold and World's Strongest Man were so close together, and in 2015 again that happened. So this will be the third year of doing it, and I feel like I'm getting better at it, but unfortunately, because the time in between, I don't know officially how much time we're going to have, because World's Strongest Man hasn't announced the dates yet. But I would assume that we're probably only going to have, I would say, 6, 7, 8 weeks, maybe something like that, which is not really long enough to set up a specific training cycle to World's Strongest Man after the Arnold. So for me, it's more about trying to be good at everything at the same time. So I'm throwing in a little bit more conditioning with the Arnold than I probably would if World's Strongest Man wasn't so close. But it's a fine line that you have to walk with doing too much conditioning and not focusing enough on the strength. So it's kind of a balancing act when it comes to that. And I'm trying to do the best that I possibly can, but it's kind of a trial and error work in progress, if you will. And so I'll have to analyze that. The good news is if I'm strong enough to the Arnold, typically I can carry that strength over to World's Strongest Man and up the conditioning. And I tend to respond really quickly to conditioning as well. So I can up that quickly after the Arnold if I need to, based on how the training's going. So that's a good question, and we'll probably cover a lot more about that as we get closer to the Arnold, and especially after the Arnold, coming up with a game plan for World's Strongest Man. So thanks for that question. The next question I got was another good question. It was about if I go heavy all the time with event pressing, or if I tend to kind of rotate between lighter and heavier sessions with that as well, kind of like the yoke and the frame, as I've mentioned before. And I absolutely do. I do go with heavier pressing days for the events, and then lighter pressing days with the events. Dumbbell tends to be a little bit different than the log. Log can be a little bit more structured, I feel like, in my training. Dumbbell is a bit different just because I feel like if your body is tired, the dumbbell press doesn't go as well. It's not so much about necessarily being fresh with pressing. It's more if your core and your back and your legs are tired, the dumbbell event's not typically going to go as well as if your body's fresh. So if my body's more beat up, I'll typically back off on the dumbbell a little bit more. Log doesn't seem to be exactly that same way for me, because I can vary the log a little bit more. I can take it out of the rack. I can, sometimes clean it from the floor. But if I take it out of the rack, I take out a lot of the, heavy posterior chain work with the log as well. So I vary those around, and there's a lot of, I like to base things on how I'm feeling, as I've said before, but I analyze it kind of on how the week has gone, and then I'll go into the log and set it up, based on what I feel I need on that day. So hopefully that answers your question there, with those events. But I very much do, take a break between going heavy. I don't go heavy all the time. And I feel like sometimes that's probably one event for a lot of guys, where they overdo it all the time on event pressing, just constantly every weekend to go for a max. And that's definitely not the way to get better at the end of the day. So hopefully that helps. All right, guys, I think that's all the time we have this week for the update video. I just want to say thank you again for taking the time to check this out. I really appreciate you hitting the like button, sharing it, commenting, being able to interact with you guys doing this stuff has actually been really fun for me, and it's something I've actually really enjoyed doing. So we're going to keep the content coming, more training videos, more nutrition videos, just so much stuff that we're trying to do. And it's going to be fun. It's going to be fun to see, what we can put out in the coming weeks, and what you guys want to see. So definitely add your comments below and hit that like button, and we'll come at you here in about another week.